Hi, Jim Egan, Done Right Home Improvements, and going to show you here how we're going to install this new Streamlabs automatic shutoff valve. I'll show you the box here that it comes in. Looks like that. I don't know, I got to kind of preview some of this so you can see what I'm seeing. There we go, it looks like that. Comes in this box. It's a fully automatic shutoff valve that will shut off your water in case of an emergency. It senses how many gallons of water you're using. It's full port, which means it doesn't restrict your water at all, but I do recommend having a professional do it. And here's one of the reasons why, is my shutoff valve, as you can see, is in a pretty tight spot, and my existing shutoff's there. I want to install it before it takes off for my sprinkler line, which means I've got to put it in down in the wall slightly below this valve here and add a new shutoff valve below that. So I'm going to do that real quick, and then I will let you know how that goes and get back to you here in a minute. Okay, so first I'm going to lower this ground wire here. Not a big deal, but I need to get it down and out of my way. I want to make sure I don't see any sparks there. I should probably have gotten the voltage detector just to make sure there was no voltage going down that ground. But there. Okay, so I've cut below. I just need to cut up here, which always requires that I remember which way this cutter turns. Okay, so we got a long enough piece of pipe out of the way where I'm going to reuse some of that. I want to clean up this piece of pipe. You want to make sure to get all the paint off wherever your attachment's going to be. Like that. The other thing that's important, as any professional plumber would tell you, you want to deburr the inside of this pipe. I didn't bring a deburring tool down with me, but a pocket knife will suffice. Just get the little bit of burr in there, make sure it's not going to interfere with anything in your home plumbing. And the same thing on the downside. So if you're wondering, I had to shut it off out at the street, which is why, again, you probably want a professional to do this, not just wing it on your own. Okay, let me clean this copper down here. You want to make sure that on shark bite fittings that you get the full depth of the pipe inserted into the shark bite. Typically that means grabbing a tape measure, measuring that far. I think in this case it's 1 1/8 inches for a 3/4 inch shark bite. Don't quote me on that. But anyway, you want to make sure it's fully inserted. So what I do, or try to remember to do, is take and measure exactly how far that is with something. I'm going to use my pin here and go, that's that much right there. So that being the case, I measure down on my pipe, and that's going to just about bottom me out right to that electric clamp that I put down there. So you don't need to keep these plastic inserts in there on copper necessarily. They're more for when you're using them on PEX, but it doesn't hurt a thing to have them on there. I just leave them in there. They go inside the pipe, but sometimes they can restrict you. There we go. Okay, so I'll let you see this valve installed now. It's right down there. You can see why it was a little bit tight spot. And actually, before I go any further, I tend to like to test it. So I'm going to shut this valve off. I'm going to go outside and turn that water on, and then I will be back. Okay, water's back on up to the valve below. I can tell it's not leaking. So now I just need to proceed with installing the Streamlabs valve. Getting it out of the box here. This is what it looks like. It's important that you follow this arrow on the bottom for direction of flow. So in my case, it needs to go that way. It will come in right here. So I'm going to start with the shortest nipple I can put in at the bottom, and then I will add my fitting up top. I guess I better add my fitting up top first, duh. So I will start with that. Then I'll know exactly how long I need for the bottom. So let me open one of the two SharkBite adapters that it came with. Oh, by the way, nice thing about the Streamlabs automatic shutoff valve versus other ones is the fact that it's wide open. You can see right through there. And it's an inside ball valve in there. Brass, not plastic, like some other models of other brands. And so the SharkBite Union simply comes on like this, and it slides up. Again, I want to know exactly how deep it needs to go. So it needs to come that deep. Now, other plumbers will tell you that they'll make a mark right there showing the depth of it. They'll take their tape measure, measure an 1.1 inch, whatever. The important part is to make sure that you're fully buried when you have that on. I can tell that I'm just below that paint mark, so I'll be just fine. Oops, I almost made a mistake though. I almost forgot to put the union on first. If you make that mistake, you can release these. They come with a SharkBite release tool. So it looks like that. The problem is sometimes there's not enough room to get it on. In this case there would be, but not by a whole lot. So anyway, while we're on the subject of SharkBite, you'll hear many people talk about the legality of them in walls. There we go. I could feel it bottom out, and we're right there. They're totally legal inside walls in my jurisdiction anyway. They may not be in yours, but I don't know of any jurisdictions that they're not legal. So that being said, you should be just fine. The Streamlabs valve also comes with a spacer, which you can use in lieu of the valve if it ever were to fail, or if for some reason you wanted to flush the lines or whatever. I'm going to use it right now just to get my measurement, because I didn't bring a tape measure in. So this will be pretty simple. Just going to hand tighten that. I'm going to get my other union. And we will set it basically on the bottom of that. Wow, that is going to be tight, but everything will fit. So, my piece of copper will need to be this long, right there. So, and I will double check before I actually put it together. I've got extra copper here to play with. Obviously I could have ran out to the truck and got a new clean piece of copper, but I'm telling you there's nothing wrong with this piece of copper. So that being said, I also made a mistake. I didn't put my PPE, my proper protective equipment on prior to beginning. You should. It is important that you always wear proper protective equipment. I'm not doing anything that would or could damage my eyes, so I'm not wearing safety glasses. But I certainly wouldn't be opposed to you wearing safety glasses in a case like this. Sometimes when there's heavy paint on the pipe like this, I'll go ahead and scrape it off just with the teeth of my channel locks a little bit. Be careful not to squeeze too hard, or you can out around the pipe. But it just saves me some cleaning time. There we go. Now, one advantage I have this time is I can actually tell right there how deep that needs to go. And I can compress it on. Didn't go. Compress it on just like that. There we go. Again, I can't forget that nut. So I will grab it. Here it is. Okay. We shipped 4 washers, which is kind of nice. Only need 2. But this should be... I'm just double checking my size before I put it in down there. Yeah, it should be perfect. So we're going to undo my little cheater bar, or whatever you want to call it, the little nice little thing they send with Streamlabs, excuse me, water.com. That's a good place to go for information, but again, I wouldn't suggest you do this yourself. A lot of times if you get frustrated with something like this, you can forget a detail, like looking to see which way that arrow is going on the bottom. So always take a second, take a breath, make sure you got it right. Oh yeah, baby, now we're gonna work just fine. Some other guy watching this is saying, well, dummy, that's why you get a tape measure out and you measure it. Okay, I've run into one other maybe small problem, and that is how tight I am to this stud. Yeah, so the valve body is hitting this stud here. The irony is that it doesn't hit it down here. I need to take and cut this stud a little bit so that it can slide in there and not be restricted. So, that being said, I'm going to stop again for a little bit, go out and get my little cutting tool to cut that stud. Be right back. Okay, I'm back. I have cut that wood out of the way now. This piece of wood actually is just for securing my panel that goes over this, so it's not a big deal that I've knocked it out or cut it down. So I got lucky in that regard. Get this up and out of the way. There we go. Now that thing fits in there nice. A little tough to get to the nut here still. Don't want to lose that washer. Oh, and of course my battery's going to die on my flashlight. So I will just get this connection made and then I'll change that battery for you. Okay, I changed the battery. I still didn't get this connected, but I will here in a second. Make sure that washer's centered. Hold my tongue right. And as you can tell, I left just enough room for this washer to slide in there. We know the valve is open because we looked right through it. So we're going to tighten these unions up. We will turn the water on and make sure we have no leaks. By the way, I should say, before I ever did any of this, I went ahead and downloaded the Streamlabs app and had it recognize this device and had this device get connected onto my local network. There we go. Because they're rubber washers on these connections, you don't have to be overly tight. The reason I turned this one on first, by the way, is because I just wanted some of that water to drain down into there. Okay, the water is now on and live up to here. I have a kitchen faucet open on the other side of the room in my basement here, and so I'm going to turn this water on and let it flow through there. You always want to have a faucet open somewhere when you turn on water so that you're not just flushing it all into all the unused faucets and whatever. I'll walk over right now and shut that faucet back off once it's running clear. Okay, water's back on. I've shut that faucet off. So now we're under full pressure. So we will take a quick peek down in here to make sure we got no leaks. Try to get my camera in the right spot here. And looks good. I kind of like that I have shutoffs on both above and below. So on that we're good. We'll grab the power pack real quick. Which is just a little adapter. And for now, I am going to be installing an outlet right inside the wall here so that I can plug it in right here. But for now, I'm just going to get it plugged into an extension cord and or an outlet. It does come with a 10-foot long cord, which is pretty nice. You can almost always reach somewhere with that. So let's see, I think I've got an outlet right back here. Gotta move a chair or two. But I can plug it in right here. You have an extended outage or something, the valve will still work even if the power is out, but it won't open and close without some power, either the 9-volt power or the AC power. Anyway, I hope this has been informative. It has been for me. I'm going to be playing with it over the next few days and see how I like it.